21 November 2023. And, well, what can I say? Another loose cannon episode. The one that I released earlier, in which I talked about apartheid and how it was and all of that, has inspired people to comment. I received a comment with a guy that I mentioned in that Skidmark, and he made a few statements, and in a way it bamboozled me. But then I realized, if you want to communicate in the public space, you need to be able to listen when people give feedback. Now, over the past few months, I've received many comments and messages and said, but who must I vote for? And as I said to the guy this morning, my mission is not to offer solutions. My mission is to show you where are we, what is going on, and that you can see the results of the choices that were made. And then it's up to you to think about a solution. But he made a very valid point, and he said that by pointing these things out, I'm actually implying a solution, and what he reads from that Skidmark is that I say go back to apartheid. And that's exactly the same conclusion he came to after looking at Akumalo's video. And I thought about it a lot. And he's actually right. But now I'm sitting with a dilemma. If you look at the political playing field, and I'm not going to try to cover all 400 fucking parties that's there, it's crazy. But the reality is, we are where we are because of basically criminal politicians. All of them that are sitting in that parliament, each and every one of them had a role in the shit where we are. He either supported it openly or he kept his mouth shut. And by keeping his mouth shut, he actually condoned it, what is going on. So, look at the ANC. The ANC fucked the country up because they were in full control. And you can argue about it how much you want to, and I mean there's guys that are making, and Malema is one of them, that said that Koko is such a great engineer and all that cup. I have received information of the millions that he has stashed, and that guy is seen as a hero by some blacks. The problem that we are sitting with is there's not a single leader, political leader, that we can look at the man, listen to him, and then deduct that he has integrity. Integrity is the key. That is what you need. And you look at Malema, he talks a lot of things, and he says, and sometimes he makes a lot of sense in what he's saying. I have listened to a lot of his speeches. I said to a black guy that forwarded something to him, and I said to him, you must understand, me personally, I don't believe that any single one person is 100% bad. I don't believe it. It's actually physically impossible for a single guy to be 100% bad. But if you look at his, and you listen to his ideology, he is a great supporter of China. And I saw a speech which he made to the German ambassador or something, and he made a hell of a story and how good China is doing and all that. But he does not tell the people that the base problem in South Africa is education. We're sitting with an uneducated population. An uneducated population. And I have said it many times, that is part of Triple X's plan. That's why the ANC executed Triple X's instructions and fucked the education system up, because they want to keep the people down. Then he forgets to mention that we also have an undisciplined society. No discipline. That's why you see them throwing rubbish everywhere they go, driving down the road and just bluxing the Kentucky box out of the window. Not for a moment thinking, who the hell must pick that thing up? But they don't think about it like that. That's a lack of discipline. The way they walk, jaywalking across the streets. Don't use the pedestrian crossing, cross wherever you want. Discipline. I have said one night in a debate, I said to a guy, if you want to look at the level of discipline in a country, just look at the conduct of drivers on the road. That will give you a good indication of the level of discipline in that country. Now, all of you have seen how it goes on our roads. Guys keep to the speed limit because they're scared the cops catch them. Not because he's got the discipline to obey the law. No. He sticks to the speed limit because he's afraid he's going to be caught. The EFF, Julius Malema, is not a solution for South Africa. I have asked once in previous Skidmarks, I've said, show me just one. Show me one investor that they brought into the country and that investor created 100, 500,000, 2,000 jobs. Show me one. But what he is doing is he's encouraging the illegal immigrants into our country. Now, you know what the result of that is. The black communities are suffering under it like hell. And there's the key. The communities are suffering, but they don't corner Malema. I am in a hell of a fight with the Freedom Front Party because I have said that the young people, the young Afrikaner, conservative Afrikaner, Boere, men must just stand up and go and sanitize that party structure. Sanitize it. Because it is not, the whole party is not 100% fucked. There's a core piece. And it's easy to identify them. That is making it impossible for decent people to vote for the VF, for the Freedom Front Plus. That's the reality. So, once again, the people must take responsibility for that shit in that party. The DA. The DA is in the same category for me as the ANC. They're beyond repair and beyond sanitation. For the simple reason, just like the ANC, you cannot show to me the DA's tribe. Who is their tribe? They go for the cosmopolitans. But we see how coalitions fail because the DA is unwilling to compromise. The DA wants it their way or that's it. Their way or the highway. Look at that cock in Joburg. Everywhere where the DA have to manage in a coalition, they either disregard the minority coalition partners or they treat them without respect. So the DA is for me not the answer. Then there's many people that tell me OHM. I said, well, okay. The reality of OHM is basically none of their good plans can ever be implemented without major changes to the constitution. There's no way that they are going to get so many votes that they can change the constitution. And the other parties will not change that constitution because the OHM vision cancels most of those members of these other parties. So that's where we are. I said to a guy in a debate, and I said to him, for me, the biggest tragedy was the fact that COPE failed. But we know why COPE failed, and I mean, I've been involved with COPE, and COPE failed because the ANC planted a guy in COPE to destroy COPE from the inside. And Monsieur Lekota was too decent to do what should have been done. Then they say, what about Bantu Olomisa's party? I say, okay, fine. I will not doubt his integrity. But the fuck up that they made in Nelson Mandela Bay made me doubt the real integrity of the party. So this is where we are. There's not a single political party today that I can say, okay, let's support that party. But the fact of the matter is, if we do not take note of the fuck up that is in our lives every day, Eskom is gone, railroads gone, harbors is gone, roads are gone, schools are gone, hospitals, health services is gone. SASSA is standing on one leg, and that leg is planted on a banana peel, and next to that foot is a major drop-off. South Africa is bankrupt, and we see every day more and more and more comes out. Now there's people saying that the theft in totality of South African money is 41 trillion rand. Fuck, I can't even write 41 trillion. And if you show it to me there on the screen, the chances that I can read it correctly is also slim. So, we know where we are. We're in a failed state. And then we see how this ANC clowns are now handling the Palestinian issue. Embarrassing South Africa all along, everywhere, embarrassing South Africa. We had that list that Russia gave out about friendly nations to get special deals if they invest in the Russian economy. South Africa was left off that list, although we are in BRICS with Russia. That should tell you something. Our country's problem is leadership with integrity. If you take Cyril's cabinet, how many of those people in that cabinet will actually have a good score when it comes to IQ? How many of those people in his cabinet do actually have valid, recognizable qualifications? How many? It's for you black people to go and find out. But what makes me fucking sick is you are a majority. You keep on telling us you're the majority. You are 95% of the population, yet you allow people like Mbalula to play a leading role in your lives. Why? You allow a militant like Malema to fuck your lives up, to whip up people in a frenzy and then destroy stuff in your own communities. Why? It is time that people take the responsibility for what is going on, because it happened under their watch. It must be emphasized that we all participated in this fuck up, either by doing something to positively support the fuck up, or by seeing the fuck up and staying quiet. I've said it. You're quick to go and gather 1,000 people in front of an embassy and shout a lot of shit there and wave flags. For kak that doesn't affect your life at all. Why not rock up at Malema's house and say, hey, where's the jobs? Where's the education? Why not rock up at Cyril's house and say, what the hell are you doing by getting our country so deep into debt? That is what you should do with your numbers. But it's all about education and discipline. Two things that has left the room in South Africa. And the crashing of the education is a tragedy. And future generations are going to pay for it. Why didn't the ANC look at the education system that was in place when they took over and said, okay, all we need to do is we need now to expand this thing. Where's the money to do the expansion? Oh fuck no, it's easier for them to steal 20 billion and put it in their own pockets and buy a fancy car and a fancy house. Fuck the people. And this is what people must understand. You see in the newspaper clipping, 500 million fraud at Eskom. You just see it. What you don't realize is what that 500 million could have done for your community. That is what you must look at. And by the way, there's a major thunderstorm here, and the wind is rattling the windows and rattling the door, so there's nobody knocking on my door. But the fact of the matter is, we the people need to accept that we were partially responsible for the shit we are in. Now, we need good leaders. Where is that leaders? You in your communities would know who is the good leaders. And then I want to go with the last thing. I'm not a guy, you know that I don't promote solutions and things like that, because I am of the opinion the communities must come up with the solutions. But here is something that you should think about. I say, break up the republic, then in that breakup process, doesn't matter how much you hate white people, go and talk to the guys that were involved in the demarcation processes for the Volksstaat. And you will find solutions in there. And it's important. The Tswanas supported that. The Zulus supported that. Yeah, now people say, yeah, but there's other people. Blah, blah. Man, those are the two big nations in the country. And that's it. Look at the suggestions that were made. It was practical and it was executable. But it was fucked by the Vaseline gang. Okay, but this is not about them. The fact of the matter is, this unitary state cannot go on. The education levels is low. So tribal controls is vital, because traditionally most people recognize the authority of their tribal leader, be it the captain or what. And if you are good and you are of integrity, you make sure that your tribal leader is clean. And if he's not, you sort him out. But you cannot sort the President of South Africa out. He's too much protected by all the thousands of laws and thousands of policemen, and Triple X will also protect him. But your tribal leader, there out in your community, that guy is within reach. Same, and this covers for, you must understand, if I say, go back to tribal level, the Boere are entitled to land here. And the Swazis, the Sothos, the Zulus, and the Tswanas recognize their land. So, I'm not going to discuss that. The fact of the matter is, we must get rid of the central government. because it will never be a success. Never! Let the tribes federate where they want. Let them sort it out. We cannot continue with this unitary state. We cannot. And there's a lot of people that has got lots of stories of secession here and secession there. A lot of it is bullshit. It will never fly. And because there are practical implications in their suggestions. And then we have this grouping of people that now are all of a sudden big time on the Aboriginal rights wagon. I've done a skidmark on it. They've got most of problems. They're not identifiable as a nation. You know, if you think the Afrikaner nation is full of sections, you must go and look at these people that are banking on Aboriginal rights. I'm on one of their groups and so forth. At stages I get the feeling there are more royalty than people. There is tribes, looks to me like the whole tribe is 10 people. Cut like that. If they don't sort that out, they're going to have a problem. They're going to have a major problem. But that is their problem. The reality is, our country cannot go ahead. It is a dead end. It's bankrupt, and all the systems has collapsed. This pulls up with the harbors. The average guy does not really grasp the full implications of that. But that harbor problems is going to mean we cannot import stuff, we cannot export stuff. And there are certain things that we need to survive, to import. And there are a lot of industries that banks on exports, otherwise they're done. And if they go, gone is the jobs. And then I see the ANC running an ad campaign in which they make a lot of stories about SASSA, as if they are paying the fucking SASSA. We, the taxpayers, are paying the SASSA, but they claim the right to tell people that they have that. It is they that bring you SASSA. They're talking kak. They don't bring you SASSA. That's the South African government thing that brings you SASSA, not the ANC. But think about these things and try and focus on finding leadership with integrity in your communities. Leadership with integrity. That's the key. Please give me a like and a subscribe and share the thing. Thank you for your support.